Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the webinar on what actually the applicants should do. Be careful about the do's and don'ts for securing while they want to secure the BIG grant and a BIG fund. So today we have with us a very experienced person, Dr. Kalpana Shastri. Dr. Shastri has chaired and co-chaired number of evaluation meetings in the past BIG calls. And she has more than 20 years of experience in tech assessment, intellectual property, and tech transfer. She is currently associated with NARM, EIDIA NARM, as an head of agri research systems and management and policy division. She is also associated with ICR as a team in the ICR team for actualization of the IP and tech commercialization and of the policies at ICR. She has authorized
Rohini, this was in my previous avatar, okay?
Okay.
I have now left NARM and ICR, and I'm working, I actually superannuated, but then I'm very closely associated with the AIDEA and of course IIT Kanpur. And also I just wanted to add, I'm now leading the team, another incubator, which is now just taken shape at PGTSU, that is Agriculture University in Telangana, where we have an incubator called Ag Hub. So it's okay, it's just an updated information. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am, for updating your current status. My sincere apologies for discussing about the previous.
It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So. So today's session, we will be focusing more towards what are the factors which are actually responsible, or what are the factors which the applicant should be considering while they are pitching for the BIG fund. And Dr. Kalpana Shastri will be giving based upon her experience, she will be giving the tips to the applicants or the people who are interested to apply, what factors they should be careful about while applying for the BIG grant. So before that, I'll be discussing about what exactly the BIG, for a couple of minutes, I'll be discussing what exactly the BIG fund is all about. And then we'll be moving to have a discussion with Professor Shastri about do's and don'ts of for securing the BIG fund. So I'm Rohini Chawla, who is currently looking after the BIG grant at SISC IIT Kanpur. And before I start talking about BIG, I would like to inform that our incubator at SISC at IIT Kanpur has proudly commercialized 3 products during the COVID-19 period. And the first one, as you can see, is the Swasa mask. Because of its high quality and efficiency, it has been appreciated by the Prime Minister of the country itself. And the second, I would like to talk about the ventilators, which have been commercialized, ICU. These are the ICU ventilators, and now they are being supplied all over the countries. To the hospitals. The third one is the SaniWalk, which is a contactless body disinfectant chamber. All these products are being commercialized by our companies which are incubated at SISC IIT Kanpur. So at 20 years into the system, into the business, we have at SISC we have a number of other funding programs as well. But for today's talk, we'll be basically focusing about BIG, Biotechnology Ignition Grant, which offers a fund up to 50 lakhs. And for getting more details about the other programs which are running at SISC, you can visit our website, which is mentioned on the top right of the screen, as you can see. So Biotechnology Ignition Grant is one of the flagship programs. I think most of the participants must be knowing it's one of the flagship programs of the BIRAC, and all the individuals who have the graduation degree and the startups or LLPs which are less than 5 years old are eligible to apply for this grant. And this grant specifically supports the ideas, research-based ideas, which have commercialization potential, and the applicants who are interested to commercialize their ideas to the proof of concept and validation. Earlier it used to be a grant, but now the BIRAC has introduced a new clause in the grant. So it is now a royalty-based grant of 50 lakh rupees for which any grantee who has received this grant after they have commercialized their product and started generating the revenues, they have to pay the 5% royalty to the BIRAC. So the duration of this grant is basically 18 months, and this grant is not a research grant or based grant, although it supports the idea which are coming out of some research or some technology based ideas, but it specifically focuses on the ideas which can be commercialized. So it's for the business based ideas. The call for the 18th BIG call is currently open, and the deadline for the application is 15th of Feb. So coming to the themes, it covers the themes which are covered under the BIG. It covers healthcare, and under the healthcare, several sub domains like diagnostics, medical devices, drugs, vaccines, drug formulations, and delivery systems are covered. In another theme is the industrial biotechnology, which includes culture, for example, cultural preparation and various other industrial biotechnology based ideas. Then we have agriculture and secondary agriculture, waste management, clean energy, and related ideas. At SIIC, we have previously had grantees from various domains, which I've already mentioned in the previous slide. So in the healthcare, our grantees were from medical devices and diagnostics. And for example, I have mentioned few of the grantees products on the slide. First one, as you can see, it's a brain hemorrhage detection device from one of our grantees. Then we have cervical cancer detection device, and another grantee has received a grant for as his idea for orthosis for clubfoot disease. Then we have an idea from another grantee, which is on preeclampsia, which is a screening device for a kind of a screening device. In agriculture, we have grantees from Agritech, crop improvement, and also ideas coming to prevent the counterfeiting in pesticides and medicines. In the first, as the first product you can see is an automatic cocoa bean separating machine. Then another one, we have an idea coming from a company which is irrigation schedule real-time data and availability. And then we have an idea which is based on preventing the counterfeiting in pesticides, medicine, and medical implements and pharma, and educate the farmers and consumers regarding the counterfeiting and through virtual reality. In industrial biotechnology, we have ideas coming from waste to value. for example, one of the grantees has proposed utilization of the tamarind waste and as a substitute for pectin. Then we have utilization of the flower waste to produce bioleather. And then another grantee has proposed utilization of feathers, poultry waste, to produce the bioplastics. So why you should apply for the BIG grant? Because although it's a very, very competitive grant, but it's one of the risk-free way to realize if you have something very innovative or you have a very innovative idea. Plus, it is a grant which assures the follow-on funding. And we usually receive questions regarding the division of how the 50 lakh is being divided in the budget head. So as you can see on the screen that 30% of the total grant is being dedicated towards the equipment, then 30% towards the manpower. Consumables and contingency, it is flexible. 1.5 lakhs is being dedicated towards the IP and patent, 1.5 towards the travel, and 20% of the total grant towards the outsourcing. Your applications are basically evaluated on the basis of the criteria like technical feasibility, novelty, potential impact of your idea, whether it has some impact towards the society, it's your commercialization strategy, the team, how strong your team is technically, plus also on the business front, plus whether you have thought about the barriers of entering into the market, or also about the barriers of the in terms of you can face on the technical front, plus also your overall BIG project plan. You should also choose BIG because once you have been BIG grantee, so it opens up a path for you to other grants as well. For example, SIBRI or BIPP. So it assures a kind of a follow-up funding for a BIG grantee. To apply for the BIG grant, the applicant should register at the following website, which I have mentioned on the right side of the slide. Then you have to, then after the registration, you have to choose one of the 8 BIG partners, as SISC IIT Kanpur is one of the BIG partners. Once you have submitted your application, the process has been divided into 4 steps. Your application first goes through the preliminary screening round, and then after the preliminary screening, it goes to the 5 reviewers, and your application is online reviewed by reviewers based upon the technicality, plus also your ability to commercialize your proposed idea. Then once it has been shortlisted in the online review round, your application is technically evaluated, and then finally in the expert selection committee, finally shortlist the applicants basis upon the scores they have received during the technical evaluation panel round. Now the question is, of course, there are 8 partners, and all of them are very much helpful towards helping the applicants to obtain the BIG grant. But why you should opt for SISC IIT Kanpur as a BIG partner? So SISC has been working very hard to help the BIG applicants to receive the funding. Plus, the SISC is a system which is upcoming in the country, and in terms of mentoring, just to discuss few names, we have a very strong mentoring pool. As you can see, just to name few, we have Dr. Ajay Chaudhary, who is the founder of the HCL Technologies. Then we have Professor Saurabh Srivastava, who is the founder of NASSCOM, Pawan Chaudhary, who is the chairman at MTAI, and Dr. Ragesh Bhargav, who is the member of Fresenius Kabi Oncology Limited, Dr. Sanjay Banerjee, who is the former MD of Zimmer Biomet, Sanjeev Verma, who is the chairman and advisory board and former MD of Baxter, India, Yashdeep, who is currently the global head at Stryker Corporation. And then in agriculture, we have Mr. Biplab Paul, who is the founder of Narita Services, Mr. Hemendra Mathur, who has been associated with the Bharat Bio Innovation Fund and also the co-founder of Think Agriculture. We have Shrikant Shastri, who is the board of member at SISC Kanpur, and also a national expert advisor, and also the member of the National Expert Advisory Committee at DST and Government of India, DST Government of India. So these are the few mentors which I have mentioned, plus we have a very large mentors pool. Apart from this, we have a system in place which has very strong academic mentors at IITK faculty, which is very progressive towards helping the applicants if they require any specific technical mentorship. Plus, we have a prototyping facility, a strong alumni network. Plus, we also direct the applicants towards angel investors, venture capitalists, and management firms. For the BIG, to help the applicants for their BIG application, we have a very strong bio team which provides one-to-one mentoring session, whether it is in terms of grant writing or helping the applicants to prepare for their presentations for pitching. Plus, we also help them post submission with their business plans and the technical experts. And we also have sessions, special sessions on the intellectual property as well as the regulatory, if required if it is necessary and required by the applicants. So, if you have any further questions regarding the BIG application, you can contact us on the bioincubator at iitk.ac.in, and another email address at Rohini c@iitk.ac.in. And I'll be moving to Dr. Shastri now, and we'll be discussing about the factors which an applicant should keep in mind while they are pitching towards the for the BIG grant. Dr. Shastri, can you please share your experiences along with some case studies for the applicants, so that they get some idea for the do's and don'ts of the BIG grant?
Okay. Thanks a lot, Rohini. And I think you've really set the floor with your presentation and detail. So I think good evening to all the participants and prospective applicants, I would say. The fact that almost 70 plus people are here in this session, it also shows that there is some wave happening and there is an interest in the audience. So the do's and don'ts, I think the first is the passion and the interest for anybody to even pen down his application. Being part of this ecosystem for a fairly good time now, when you look at any application, I think it's very easy to understand the interest with which they have, filled up this. and it's not a matter of routine. So I think the first step I would say is, you're talking about submitting a proposal which is seen and evaluated by a bunch of people like old people like us, like me, who would like to look at something, what's so great about it, something different from the other applications. So I think the focus, the clarity, and the crispness all should talk about your, what your idea. What are we applying for? Big you're applying where you're trying to look for a grant to take your idea, which you have already thought about, say it's in the POC stage, or you made some one or two level steps, and you, before you actually go into the market, you really want to use a grant to validate what you are thinking about. And if I am telling you, I'm talking from those innovations which are specific to agriculture, because that's my domain and strength area. I would not be able to comment much on the other areas of, but agriculture is also very broad. You also have waste management, you also have, so when you are, I would look at, when I apply, I think the first and foremost is, what is the problem I'm addressing at? What's that thing I'm trying to push forth through my idea, which will, in one small way, try to look at the, gap which was there and which was definitely felt by my stakeholders. So which means I need to know what my problem is. I also need to know, I'm not using the word consumers, I'm saying stakeholders. I'm looking at innovations for applying through the big grant in the agri value chain. It can be right from the inputs till the output, okay? Something which comes out. Agri-food, both. So any element, now it can be something which is a national agenda, and post-COVID, I'm giving you some of the keywords which you should look at. Definitely, we would look how your innovation proposal is trying to give answer to some of the gaps at a national level. You could also upfront say, look, I'm not looking at national, I'm even going one step ahead on global needs. Yeah, food security used to be 10 years back. Today we add one more, nutritional security. So if I'm trying to address nutrition security with augmenting food security, that becomes my broader idea. Then of course, national. You're talking about big for agri-tech, agri-biotech. Now, biotech is a very broad word. Please don't think biotech restricts to only lab and doing your tissue culture or molecular. You're talking about next generation innovations, genomics. Yes, medical genomics in the healthcare has been one of our prime areas under big. I'm looking and waiting for the day where genomics in agriculture based, they're definitely few. So that, even the grant, enablers, the system, we're looking for these prospective areas where there have been less and dearth of applications in the past. Yes, apart from traditional agri-based technologies, the entry of AI and machine learning, the applications in agri value chain are some other areas where problem statements have to be thought of. So I think what we are actually looking, also please remember one thing, when you are applying at the BIG level, you're looking at high technologies with risk in the initial phase. And we are looking later, which will enter high market with high market risk. You have to convert your technology risk into products. Associatedly, market risk will be there. So what I mean to say is your application should cover the entire thing. Technology, your answer to it, entering into, preparing for market. I'm not saying entry, I'm saying preparing for the market. So your proposal has to be my only plea to most of your participants is, please, Rohini showed one slide which said it is not a research grant. You have to look at this proposal as something beyond research. A research grant turning you into an entrepreneur. Now, if that is the line, what do you look at? You look at good technology, you look at the upscaling of that technology. You also look at as a positioning of the technology, process, product, device into the markets. The whole thing. So techno, research, a little bit of legal and market, business. All elements have to come. Rohini?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for the insights and your based on your experience. This leads to a question, ma'am, that Dr. Shastri, that nowadays we are looking into some really affordable products, because it's we are focusing on the Atmanirbhar Bharat, and so the focus is to have products which are built within the country. So but the products which are extremely affordable, or the frugal innovations, are basically looked down upon. So what is more important, affordability with the frugal innovation, or a high-end innovation which is made in India but offered at a similar price to the imported ones?
I would say both. I mean, it's very difficult to say. Agriculture has always been frugal. Okay. Yeah, I'm again coming back to agriculture. It's difficult for me not to talk. I'm taking my call in agri. Agri has always been frugal. Having said that, look back in Green Revolution, you had technology coming outside beyond India and Indianize it so that Green Revolution was addressed. Okay. So you had both ways. So there's nothing, no segmented approach. If I were to look at it, I will look at how my innovation will answer to some felt need in the value chain.
Okay.
I have a commodity which is highly priced, ready for the export market, but I have a stakeholder like the grower who is having disruption in his supply to the and leading to the markets, and I have a solution to it. I will do. That's on one plane. Also can look at innovations which at the field level give him a small remedy in, say, in handling his spillage of water in the in a water starved area. I can't give you classical examples from your previous things because it's again confidentiality, but I'll give it in a more generic way. You have a solution which will answer to enhance water efficiency in a field. It may be a frugal innovation, low cost, but adds what we call efficiency to a better level. I think that needs to be considered. So there is nothing like these words of affordable and all perhaps are more valid in the healthcare sector. But Atmanirbhar, yes, we are already working on a huge scheme under the PSA on several agri technologies which are Atmanirbhar. Having said that, and I come with 20 plus years, I think most innovations in agriculture have always been centered on Atmanirbhar. I would not say that's something new, no. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
But one thing, there are a lot of elements of cutting edge technologies, as I said, next generation and technologies, including molecular biology or genomics. There is a scope for adding value to already leveled or plateaued yields, or bettering the nutrition of some of the crops. I think there should be a case to use those also. And if they are generated by Indian group of technology creators, it is made in India only. So that scope is needed because we just don't have such good startups working on agri core biotech.
Okay. So this is just I forgot to mention to the participants, if you have any questions, just keep on
Yeah.
writing in the chat box. So we'll take the questions in couple of minutes. We'll take your
Yeah,
questions.
before I forget, I just wanted to emphasize one more thing. In this, it is probably in any sector. Uh, I would certainly encourage the participants to look at the DBT site and look at what level your technology is. Generally, we have a matrix, the TRL 1 to TRL 9, and the big grant is centered mostly on TRL 2 to 5. So as a prospective panelist, and I would encourage the IIT team also as a host incubator to sort of apprise and inform the people on the scales used. In your application, there is a scope to write at what level your technology readiness level is, TRL. So it's important. It conveys a lot of meaning with minimum words then. That's important also. And in agriculture, we are looking for, answers in form of diagnostics, in form of devices, in form of upstream technologies, in form of next generation platform technologies, CRISPR and things like that. And of course, we are looking for AI and machine. I'm not going to really emphasize on it. My past 5 years experience shows you a number of applications in IoT based, and AI is definitely increasing. And you have a lot of interest in this. In fact, I would say for a grant, it is becoming very competitive.
Yeah, so
you have to keep in mind.
Yeah, Dr. Shastri, so what could be some quick tips for such applicants? Yes, there are a lot of startups who are venturing into ML and AI and IoT based solutions to solve the farmers' problem. But so if you can just give some quick tips.
Yeah, I have, being in agri, I have a little concern. One, I get so many people with this. It's fine. The ideas are good. But when you ask them precisely the questions like where is it applicable? So generally they'll be, it's applicable all over the place. No. So at least AgHub, where I'm now leading the team, we give an opportunity for validation of these technologies in a specific farmer's field. So there's and then with that validation, if they're coming to big, it becomes easier for to consider this because it has been tested at field level. In agriculture, that is the difference. You need technologies which are conceptually correct, but they have to be realistically deployed in the at the field site. So those are definitely wanting in the AI IoT based thing. And, currently in our incubator, we have 11 startups who are undergoing this in the Rabi season. And all of them, many of them are quite players in this, but they are now saying this is one opportunity we never got at the field level. So I think that that's part of your application of testing it and giving us data that it is at least field level validation is in place, or you are planning to take your technology through the grant for field level validation. Both are equally good points I would like to look at in the AI and machine learning IoT based type of technologies.
Plus, if you can, Dr. Shastri, if you can also mention, try to give some examples in the agriculture where, how much, because there are fields like machinery, and then we have pesticides, biofertilizers. How much preliminary data an applicant should have so that, they have the chances of them getting a grant gets really high.
Okay. Yes, I need the basic research data which has been validated, not only at the lab level, as I said again, beyond lab to the glasshouse level at least. I've had in the past the pleasure of reading certain applications, just a minute, applications which were not tested, they were only in the lab, and not even the, I mean, though they claim their POC has been tested, but when we really looked at the data, now how much data is difficult. It cannot be per se. If it is, say, a biofertilizer or any bio-based intervention to as an input in fertilizer, pesticide, or anything, definitely we would need the data which will significantly tell us with science-based evidence that it is working, it has been statistically corrected, and suppose it's targeting a pest, you have the the levels at which it is toxic and it's not toxic. Now, I think in all these, you must also remember you're talking about agri-food. You need data to show that they're environmentally safe and ecologically safe. You always need data on them. It may be a good idea, but quite often we get, the BT episode is one important lesson we have to learn. Because ultimately, after the big grant, most of the, the next phase is, especially for these sort of invention, is to go to SEBNI for grants towards what we call certification and regulatory approvals. So in agriculture, that is a very important, and that's one of the questions. I think one more you need to understand most of the perspective. In agriculture, the IP portfolio domain is definitely a little weak. It has not been well thought earlier years. Now you have a lot of startups who are interested. I've had many startups coming into my incubator who have a very strong IP portfolio. IP strategy is very important. Taking and also giving to an IP strategy is extremely important. And that part also should come up in your proposal. Quite often they are weak in that sector. Yeah.
So this also, this IP you have discussed, they're discussing about the intellectual property and the which leads to the novelty of the idea. So let us say if an applicant is proposing something which the idea is already there in the market, but they want to propose something more competitive and improved upon what is there in the market. So what are their chances? I mean, how they can compete?
Yeah, of course. Science doesn't grow without something pre-existing. I don't believe in all this. It doesn't come out of the blue. It definitely comes on pre-existing knowledge. And if economically it is better, environmentally it is better, and there is significantly, say, suppose one existing technology was a 5-step one protocol, and my innovator has brought it to 3-step, I think it deserves to be thought as a new novel innovation. Yes, and legally also it is allowed to the IP laws. So absolutely no 2-second thoughts on it. Novelty is the one which is driving your proposal also. Now, I think one important element we have missed is all the proposals have to have a good review of their literature, including even the patent status, prior art search, and quite often this is missed. And that definitely pulls their, the marks which are allotted. You should. Yeah. What is it? Should be, so I see a question on apparatus in investigation.
Yes. So I'll take one question here. There's a question on if an applicant has a proposal in the IoT and machine learning agritech area, which is not field tested yet. So what are the chances of such a proposal to get through if they include the testing plans? If they want
you can do. Let me tell you, even this testing and validity part is personally, I have also realized, because we have had many startups or incubators, not even in the big incubators, coming up to us asking for room and space for validation. So it's a felt need. But in your proposal, if you are very clearly, dissecting out your steps and your plan, and you can include this for validation, which will be worth considering. Having said that, your TRL level should be very clearly put in the first itself. So if it is a TRL 2 or 3, validation becomes part of it. Understood. And I see one question on solar application. Any applications using, less energy resources, because agriculture domain area is definitely a high energy consuming area. Any innovation which brings down the level of energy, either water, solar, or even manpower, which brings it down, has merit, and we should consider, and it is considered. So there's no, I'm just answering one of the questions which have come. So climate, mitigation, climate readiness, all these are also part of agri. Agri is a huge area. I've had interesting technologies where there have been plant-based extract used for healthcare. But plant-based, natural dyes used in the paint industry. They're also part of, so waste management, residue management, crop management. Rice straw, for example, is a very good source for nanosilica, which is used in the material sciences.
Okay, so I think one of the participant has missed about the TRL level, technology readiness level. So Dipin, to apply for BIG, you should not go beyond the TRL level 3.
No, what you have to learn as a applicant is identify at what level you are. And I see many a time applicants who claim that they are in TRL 11, 5 and all. So you should be very judiciously and pragmatically analyze your level. And then through the big grant, at what level you will reach. Yeah, if you look at your scheme of all the schemes you have already said, to some extent, 2 to 5 is the normal, level. But I am insisting that the applicant should also be able to identify the level he is. Quite often, we don't get that. And through the grant, at what level is he positioning himself after the grant? I would be looking at that when we are evaluating. Okay. With that, proof of concept and the prototyping is what you are trying to tell. You're trying to tell me that you're reaching that stage. So, okay. And one more thing, there was a question that a person in engineering cannot apply. Come on, this is not like a degree-based thing. It is idea-based, innovation-based. So if you have a great idea, that's what I said. In the past 5 years, we have had many AI and machine-based, IoT-based applications coming from engineers for finding their application in the agriculture. Yeah. Then you need to have a good team who will have strength in agriculture and engineering. Okay. Yeah.
So, okay, there's another question. Okay, can an idea related to logistics or platform has any chances of getting through? Has any merit if the idea is based on the logistics?
Sort of thing. I don't know if you recollect, Rohini, last year we had for logistics one.
Yes.
So the sky is the limit. I'm repeating that. But application, while I'm talking about agriculture. So any technology from any sphere. Now, if I have an app which will answer the logistic and cut down, what did the COVID teach us? That the supply chains got disrupted. Okay, there was a disruption in them. So if I have any technology by which my supply chains are shortened and restored, even in, even if there is, God forbid, another COVID type of a situation, but the supply chains are ensured, I think that's a wonderful way of getting the business done. So any solution which will help me in logistics, yes, better logic. In fact, in agriculture, one of the problem area is the entering the markets. The logistics is one. Getting into the retail market is another. This has always been a pain point for us in agri. Yeah.
Okay, so another question is whether it's necessary to have a domain expert while you're submitting your application. So no, it's not necessary to have a domain expert, but you should be very clear about what exactly you're venturing into. You should be very clear about your idea, plus what kind of team of experts or technical people with the technical background you will be requiring, so that your idea results into a successful product. Or
absolutely correct, Rohini.
yeah.
Absolutely correct. That you don't have to have an expert. What we are looking is whether the person who is proposed has capability to what we call capability of the technical area which we are talking. I've had interesting startups, who are economists, who are also experts in IT. That's fine. What we are looking is the domain expertise is available in the team or not. And since all cannot answer all questions, we look out for these advisors and experience also. That is the only way. There's no have and have not in it.
Okay, so there is one question regarding the royalty. So I think this is something important. So the royalty is basically after you have just started, the company has started generating the revenues, and it will go on till the period till the 50 lakhs. It covers the 50 lakh rupees. Then the amount which is granted to the grantee, to the BIG grantee. So I hope I have answered that question.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything else? What is a strong? I
Okay.
don't know how strong. Post-harvest technology has always been one of our gray area in the agri value chain. So, remember when we had excess production levels and we didn't have space and techniques and tools and devices to store our bountiful harvest. So post-harvest technology, commodity-wise, it's not a generic way. Commodity-wise, you have different types of technologies for different types. You're talking about post-harvest of crops like potatoes, which are positioned for different other processed foods. You have tomatoes, which are processed for different level. You have cereals. So for each, you need a solution. And we are coming out. I'm just reading some of the questions and coming back.
Yes.
Now we are coming to testing. There's one question from Maushami Devnath. It's very difficult. We have done, looks like you're on the correct path. Having said that, in just one, in a session like this, without knowing the, the specifics, it's probably difficult. But I do think you have all the elements, and probably it looks that you are on the correct path. What I would also encourage all the participants to identify yourself with the incubator. This is just a basic session, but you need to talk with your incubator from where you're applying on a one-to-one to get those answers. Yeah, tell me.
Maushami, so what I'll suggest is that you write to us on the bioincubator. I'll just mention the email address at the end of the session again, so that you can write to us in detail about your idea, and then we can give you further inputs. So we can have a further discussion later on about your work. Okay, so I'll take another. I think we can take 2-3 questions more.
Rohini, I don't know whether you are planning another session.
Yes, ma'am.
Any proposal apart from identifying the correct problem, if you look at the entire application, my urge to all the participants is the linking between what you write in the problem statement and then your proposal, how you want to tackle it, and the deliverables and the budget and the plan of everything should be synchronous and in tandem. Quite often people, what they write there, it's so broad in the first problem statement, and by the time they come to the deliverables, they get lost. So please, the tandem has, it should be, the story should be all in steps and joined to each other. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult to evaluate and you get lost also. So deliverables and then the budget.
Yeah. So there is another question. It's not related to agriculture, but there's a question whether the defense sector projects can be included in the scheme or not. Whether, yeah. So Pranav, this grant is for biotechnology ignition grant. So if you have an element of biotechnology or something which is related to biology, yes, of course you can apply for this grant. So you have to see whether in terms of if you have some elements of biology or not. And if you want more input about your project or proposed work, you can send your idea or a small PPT of your work on the bioincubator email address.
Sorry, I got a phone and yeah. Sorry, I missed Rohini. I had a important.
So I have already answered that question.
Okay, fine.
About the defense sector.
Anything else?
So I think we have covered most of the points.
Yeah. Defense sector, again, what is the scope of present specific? A lot of scope for pesticides. Can applicant proposal on import-based substituted agri? Now, I need to look at the innovativeness of the proposal. Whether I didn't really follow the import-based substitution of the products. I am given to understand you get some technology, license it from somebody, and then you want to sort of test it in the Indian ecosystem. But there has to be some innovative element in your proposal. You should be careful to bring out that part. Okay, I'm not saying don't get varieties from or technology from abroad and you can't, but there has to be some innovative step. The whole grant is on innovation. Please remember that. Yeah, any other question? Defense, if there are applications in the health sector or agri sector or consumables, they have been earlier certain, but if it is related to an inventor who is based as a spin-off in the defense sector, he probably needs all the formal approvals to come. I'm a little, I think you need to talk to that person who raised about defense. You know, that innovation of Jaipur food?
Yes.
Is a value-added product which has come through missile technology. Mm-hmm. Quite often you have innovations coming like that. And IIT Kanpur should know they have a huge technology base on such things.
So the participant who has a question regarding the defense sector project, it will be much more easier for if you can, send a small presentation of your work to us on the bioincubator email address, and we can have a further discussion on it. Okay, there's one question about the previous sanction titles. Okay, if you want to have more details about the previous sanction projects or the grantees, then you can visit the BIREC website. You can have a detail about all the projects which have been sanctioned so far.
I think we have covered most of the questions.
Yes, we have covered most of the questions. If any of the participant is having any more questions, we can take one more question. Because there's 1 more minute left before it's 6 p.m.
If there anybody interested, they can address it to what we call the team. And if there is any, I don't mind answering on mail also if they have any questions. Absolutely no issues. So you will have to do. They have to check the application form and then put it. Okay. The last question.
Okay, so there's a question. Do we have to write a detailed proposal as we have to do in an academic proposal to DST or DBT? No, Mosmi, there's a separate form for BIG grant, and we will be if you're interested to apply, we will be sharing the form with you. And you can have a look. You have to provide the technical in the form. You have to provide the technical details and your business plan, how you're going to looking forward to commercialize.
In each of the questions there is a word count also permissible.
Word count also, yeah. So you first we'll be providing with the form if you're really interested, and you just go through the form, and if you have any further questions, if you're not able to understand any section of the form, you can write to us. We'll help you with the application. I hope that I have answered your question. Yeah. Okay. So I think there are no further questions, and if all the participants, if you have any further questions and if you feel that you want to know more about the BIG grant and also require help for your application, you can write to us. We'll be sharing with you our email address and other contact point of contact also. The person to whom you should contact for the BIG. So thank you so much for participating in the session, and I hope the session was useful for you and you will be able to write a much better application. You're in a state to write much better application now. So with thank you note, I would like to close the session. And thank you so much, Dr. Shastri, so taking time out of your busy schedule.
Pleasure, and all of you can free to call me for any help. No issues. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah.